graph the inverse of x squared minus y squared minus 10x minus 2y plus 29 equals 0. So since it says graph the inverse, we can do this one of two ways. We can either switch the x and the y now, or we can do the completing the square and switch it at the end. Let's go ahead and switch it at the end just because there's two x's and two y's. We don't want to get confused here. So before we start though, if I look at this, I have an x squared minus a y squared. This indicates that this is a hyperbola. So all of you guys that thought it was a circle, come on, there was a negative sign right there. Okay, anyway, so let's complete the square. First on the x's. So x squared, and pair it up with my, my negative 10x, and then plus a blank, minus, and I'm going to have to factor out the negative sign from that y squared here. So minus y squared. And this is a minus 2y, and we factored out a negative, so that's going to make it a plus 2y, plus a blank, is equal to, and now I have to take this 29 over here, so negative 29. Alright, so let's complete our squares. In the first one, take half of negative 10, negative 5, square it, I get 25. So I have to add 25 to the other side. Okay, on the y squared, take half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, but I didn't really add 1, and this was a very common mistake that people made. I subtracted 1, because the negative sign needs to be distributed through the parentheses, so I need to subtract 1 from the other side as well. Okay, so factoring here, I have x minus 5 squared minus y plus 1 squared is equal to, and here I have a negative 4 divided by a negative 4 minus 1 is a negative 5, and I'm going to have to divide everything by negative 5. When I divide by negative 5, that's going to switch the signs here, so I'm going to have x minus 5 squared over negative 5 minus y plus 1 squared over negative 5 is equal to 1. So I can see here that these double negatives with the y's are going to cancel out and make it positive. So I need to switch the order of this and put it y plus 1 squared over positive 5 minus, not a y, come on, okay, x minus 5 squared, also over 5, is equal to 1. Okay, so that's the original equation. If I'm going to do the inverse of this thing, I have to switch inverse. I have to switch the x and the y, so it's going to become x plus 1 squared over 5 minus y minus 5 squared over 5 equals 1. Okay, so all the stuff that we need, first of all, we need our center point. The center point is negative 1, positive 5. Let's go ahead and put that down. Negative 1, 5, there's the dot. Now for a hyperbola, it's not the bigger number that is the a value, it's the positive one. So that's this one here. Not that it matters since they're both the same. So a squared is equal to the square root of 5. So, well, not square root of 5, sorry. Just 5. A is the square root of 5. And that's approximately 2.2. What direction is that? That's in the x direction. So I'm going to go 2.2 to the right and 2.2 to the left. 2.2, somewhere right in there. And b is going to be exactly the same since it's also a 5, and that's going to go in the y direction up and down. So 2.2 here and 2.2 there. Nope, that is not right. Down there. Okay, so then we're going to use that to make ourselves the little rectangle. And this is, again, it's opening towards the right and the left because the x is positive. So these two are our, let me change colors here. These two are our vertices. Okay, and I need to put in my asymptotes, thusly. Whoa, that didn't even go through the center point. Let me try that again. There, that's better. And now, let's go ahead and graph our hyperbola. Something like this, and something like that. Okay, so then the last part of this is state the domain and the range for the inverse. So again, it's from the one that we just graphed. So domain, left to right, and from left to right, I'm starting way back over here, but I end right here at the vertex, and then I start at this next vertex, and I keep going to positive infinity. Okay, so in order to get both of these values right here, it's adding and subtracting the square root of 5 from the vertex point, no, I should say from the center point, and the center point here is at -1. So I'm going from, this is the domain here, going from negative infinity all the way up to, this is going to be -1 minus the square root of 5, -1 minus the square root of 5, and it gets a bracket because it's equal to that point, union, and now I need another bracket, and this is -1 plus the square root of 5 on the other side, -1 plus the square root of 5, comma, infinity. And the range is quite simple. The range is just all the way up and down. It's all real numbers. So the range, all real numbers.